right, if everyone will please silence your cell phones, we're going to be starting the meeting in about 15 seconds. All right, at 6:00 p.m., I'm going to call the council to order. Please rise to the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Councilman Easley is going to have our prayer.
You bow your heads. Dearly Father, we come to you this evening to ask to deliberate our budget. We ask for wisdom and discernment in this matter. I pray that cool heads and civility will prevail. We ask these things in your precious name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee. One state, under God, one and indivisible. I already said I wasn't feeling well, so. Thank you. Y'all may be seated. This is a special meeting budget workshop, July 24, 2025. Agenda item number 2, mayor announcements. I do not have any announcements this evening. Moving on to agenda item number 3, public comments. I have 2 individuals that would like to speak this morning or this evening. I'm going to call Jeff Hankins. If you'll step to the podium and just state your name and address, sir, for the record. Thank you for coming.
My name is Jeff Hankins. I live at 503 North Prairie Street, lot 45. I don't know who's over the roads or anything around here, but Prairie View's getting terrible. It's been that way for 15 years. And there's other roads that need to be took care of, you know, down by the bank, over by the church, and all. But I've asked several people that work for the city about cleaning up behind my place and that was given to y'all for drainage. And I've got no response, had nobody come talk to me or anything. You got places like on Pioneer and Fairview, you have to pull almost out in the road to see if anybody's coming. I mean, I don't know if anybody's addressed that or not, but somebody needs to check on this or do something about it. Because if I start getting rats and snakes in my house, somebody's going to have to answer. I've seen all the other roads been paid and took care of, but every time I see y'all's individuals are doing nothing but driving around, not doing nothing. They're either going to the store, going to Sonic or something, or they're going into Cleveland to the store. But I don't ever see them get out and check everything, look at things or nothing. So who do I need to talk to about this?
Mr. Seitz, yeah, you want to address?
I don't know who you've spoken with, but you're more than welcome to come set a time and come meet with me. A lot of these roads that have gotten paved are actually TxDOT. That's not.
I mean, I've come up here and talked to a guy, and he was supposed to come look at it and let me know. Never heard another word from him. That's been over 4 months ago.
You have a name? Do you know who you spoke with? Okay. Well, my name's Jonathan Seitz, so you can come and ask for me, and I will be more than happy to sit down and, you know, discuss.
Well, I know there at Fairview and Pioneer Parkway that the fence has got a piece of metal in it, and you cannot see around it or anything. The grass was all out the street over waist high. They've cut some of it down, but they didn't clear all of it. And you had to pull almost halfway out in the road. You know.
Well, there's a conception that that the city is responsible for all right-of-ways, and actually in our ordinances, it's actually the landowner's responsibility to keep that mowed up to the street, just because we don't have, you know, we're 30 people understaffed, a city our size as it is, and so we do attempt to, you know, we're making a stronger attempt with code enforcement to enforce some of those things, Had some pictures today of areas that they are, again, putting focus on. And as far as the roads, I did kind of a fun analysis. If I were to fix every single road based on current cost, every road inside of Keene would cost $293 million. And I'm only saying that because it is something that we want to address, but it just takes time and money. Yeah. And we are trying to put plans in place to address.
Well, I mean, the more, just going out of the park and coming out this way, you can't see over the hill, and it's real rough right there. So I'm just tearing my car up.
Well, I do this with quite a few citizens when they have concerns. If you want to come get me, I'll go look at the situation with you, and we'll put it on a hit list.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure, sir.
Can you repeat your address one more time, sir?
Huh?
What was your address again?
503 North Fairview Street.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Hankins. Appreciate you coming. Our next speaker is Vincent Castro.
Hello, everybody. I am Vincent Castro. My address is 503 North Fairview Street, Lot 41. In about 2 weeks, it's going to be changing, but that's okay. I'm still staying here in Keene to watch over you guys. I came here again today because a few things had happened. As you can see, I'm a lot calmer, but I still have nicknames for you guys, so just rest easy. One thing that happened is the person I was talking about who was stalking you guys revealed themselves on Facebook. And that was Miss Slayer over here. Slayton. I call you Slayer. It's more to be what you guys are trying to do. But anyways, and I was just, since she decided it was okay in public to take videos of everybody else, I decided to take one of her, and she was hiding her face. I guess she doesn't like it when the cameras are turned on her. And yeah, I did post it on Facebook so everybody can see that she's a hypocrite. You're right. And that's like I said, I have the right to videotape.
Mr. Castro, if you'll just...
I have the right to videotape other people. And also in keeping with the First Amendment, because last meeting I had to leave early because my dialysis appointment went a little not too good and I was cramping up, you guys decided to take a vote on whether or not to praise Mr. Idiot over there, our city manager. The only problem is, according to Robert's Rules of Order, no vote is legal unless the chairman of the body that is overseeing the meeting calls for the vote. And that vote was not called for by our chairman of our meeting, our mayor. So I'm sorry, sir, that vote for the people appraising you does not count. And you can look it up, Robert Rules of Order is a real thing.
Yeah.
So
Mr.
you
Castro,
can verify me.
Mr. Castro, just please address the council, and Ms. Slayton, if you'll please stay quiet and let Mr. Castro speak.
Anyways, so, besides that, with what she posted about that vote, and if our city attorney was here, they could verify this. We have a right to choose who we want to support or not support. That's called the First Amendment. That's why our founding fathers fought the revolution, because they were opposed to what the king was doing. We have that right to decide for ourselves who we want to support and not support, and no intimidation is supposed to be allowed about our votes. It's supposed to be okay to dissent and disagree. And those who want to intimidate us to go their way have no place in this society. We should be able to disagree honorably. And it's okay to disagree. We're not all going to agree on the same issue, but we should be able to debate our issues and, as a body, vote, and majority would win that vote. It says we have right to peaceably assemble and protest for anything. We're not supposed to be intimidated if we decide we don't want to support somebody or have issues with that person. Or something's posted that's not the full reality of what's going on. It's called America, people. Maybe we all forgot how precious and fragile we have here. And we need to keep it the way it was founded. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Castro, for coming. All right, moving on to agenda item number 4, receive a report and discuss capital improvement plan projects and departmental expenses and objectives for fiscal year 2026.
Good evening, council, and our citizens out there that are watching. Again, I know this is a little bit different from kind of what we're used to. I kind of want to start out just giving a big thank you to the team. There's been a lot of work going on behind the scenes trying to get things were entered into the system, and so we're thankful for the bones of that, but the budget process should be a lot easier. And with the direction that we're going and the amount of time that we're taking, I'm very excited because I feel like next year we will be able to do mid-year budget adjustments and click buttons and get reports and, all those things. Because right now, again, the more we dove into this, the more we realized that, there's some information over here and then there's some information over here, and there was no easy way to compile this information. And so Amira especially, and has put in a lot of time and effort. I don't think people understand or appreciate how much time and effort is going into building this foundation so that we can run efficiently as a city, a business, all those things. So I just want to thank you. The directors seem to be embracing the new process instead of it being kind of the finance and the city manager. We're putting the tools in their hands so that they can tell us what they need. Again, it's a lot easier for communication. I'm very hopeful for the future, I think the biggest reason we haven't done mid-year budget is because it takes a lot of work right now to pull it together. So, and also next year we will be starting with personnel and fringe benefits, but again, once we started getting into that, we realized that we needed to completely kind of rebuild that too. And that's taken a lot more work. So a big thank you to Sandra, who is kind of taken on that lead. And so anyway, I wish I could just show you how much work has been going on behind these walls. So anyway, so we're doing things a little out of order this year. I'd rather, our employees are really the most important asset to our city. But we're going to have to address them next week. And that is coming together. So we're going to do things a little out of sort. And again, when this is created, I promise it will be a lot easier to provide books. But the books aren't ready right now because I don't want to give you something half done, and I don't want to give you something to make you believe that it's done because it's not. So our goal is to have the books to you by the council August 7th, which is about a week behind of last year, and I realize that, but I promise you what we're doing is going to save the city a lot of money in the future just from compound time and effort. So let's go ahead and start. The idea behind this is I don't want you to start out looking in the weeds. I want you to be looking at what are the objectives of the departments, because as we dial this in, I'm going to have to say no, but I want to make sure that as a body, we're kind of as much on the same page as possible I actually had to ask the question, you know, do we have to have a balanced budget? Okay? Well, we technically don't. If we see something on here that says, we want this, we feel this is important enough for our city, how important is it? Do you want it to be in that balanced budget, or do we want to spend extra to get these things accomplished? So obviously, I'm in favor of balanced budget. We're at a very fortunate time in the city's history because, and again, numbers are starting to come in with taxes. I think a lot of great things are in the future for our citizens. And I don't want to go into that yet because it's not finalized. But obviously, my goal, based on the demographics of our city and everything else, is to try to help relieve some of that tax pressure. That is a very much, but we as a body, to do it right, we need to do it right out here, okay? And so the thing, we are very fortunate because the rooftops the next few years are going to shelter and help a lot of this. And during that time, we also need to be making sure we're focused on economic development. And the reason I say that is, it's the same thing I told Type A and Type B. We're at 11% sales tax with 30,000 cars driving through our city. If we were at 30% like most cities, that our A and B board would have $1 million to put back into the city every year, and we would have $1.5 million that could contribute to some of these initiatives. So the nice thing is as these rooftops are being built, that gives us time to try to bring that economic development in so that when the rooftops stop and the tax plateaus, we can still continue to try to drive taxes down. So with that being said, let's jump in here, and again, let's look at the objectives of the departments, okay? So this is the revenue. This is what we talked about the last time. You know, you're looking just from a rooftop, you know, and economic development. We're looking at about a $238,000 increase, okay? Which that translates to about 50 feet of road. So again, where do we spend this? The other good news is that it looks like we've got about a $77,000 increase over what was projected last year from taxes. And then, of course, the increase in the fire revenue, because, again, we're going to look for how do we bring in additional revenue that is not burdened on our citizens. So this is just kind of a summary, just to show you kind of over the last few years. So CMO, the objectives right now in my department is let's take the tools that we've invested in and let's set it up properly. You know, right now we have a lot of people trying to pull things together that one person should be able to do easily with the click of a button. Okay, that's not happening. Hasn't happened. And that's very relevant to me because as I've looked at things not getting done, it's because we did not focus on streamlining and simplicity. So there is a there's
Quick question.
Yeah.
Is that, when you say several people are working on this, is it just Myra's crew, or is it all the department heads are having to put their department in order with this new system?
No, the building of the structure is Mira, because like I told you, she speaks IT, networks, systems, all that kind of stuff. So she's working hard to make sure it's set up properly. Where the directors are helping is rather than, you know, hey, what are you doing? Type me an email. She's able to send the system to the director so they can input the needs, so that then we get notified when they're done, and we can sit there and look at, so that when we have our first conversation, we're not talking about, so, how's it going? We're already diving into, this is what they need, right? So again, it's reducing the amount of conversations you have to have, and again, the world I come from, time is everything. And when you already have a very small team, time's even more precious. So, and then anyway, so there is an increase. This is kind of more my department, but obviously right now, like I've told you, my focus is foundationally getting processes in place. There's also increase in here, just, so that you all are aware, is also that CPM certification that you all had asked me to do, which is lined up for January, so there's the cost and all that training and stuff is in there too. So nothing really changes. Well, I mean, there's obviously change, but let's get to where the real change starts happening. Okay, non-departmental. This is a fun one. $139,000 increase, and there is really nothing we can do about it. This is $139,000 increase in property insurance. So this is kind of the cost, so we get to absorb that this year. So that's a lot of fun. Yeah, we're not dealing with any employee insurance or nothing. This is just operational expense right now. Any suggestions will be much appreciated. And again, we're not going to solve everything in a year. We're working as quick as we can. But so golf clap for our city secretary's office. She decreased her budget, and in the process, she is adding. We will be transitioning to a new system. Oh well, we would like to. Sorry, see, I'm still learning. The plan is she's presented shifting some things to going with a new website provider that will do a much better job of making sure we stay in compliance. It's cheaper. A lot of cities are transitioning to it. There's a lot more add-ons that will save additional money when it comes to emergency notifications to the citizens. All this stuff. I was really looking forward to this process because it allows me to really look kind of at everything. What? And when I look at something and go, what is this for? And it says, well, I don't know. We're really trying to go through as many line items. And last time I told you it was like 1,980 lines. It's way more than that. So as we continue to dive into the system, the list gets longer and longer. So, but a big thank you, City Secretary. The directors are also looking at year over year. I was very happy and proud to see that they were actually analyzing, another department that we'll get to is, Derek with Water and Sewer. He actually, you're going to see an increase, but operationally he actually brought it down because he was really looking at, okay, if I'm not really using this, let's take it out. Instead of, I'm trying to move away from, I got to keep it because I might need it as a cushion. You know what I mean? So that was very helpful, but we do have some increase in, in things we're trying to get done for the city. Finance department was another one. Golf clap. They brought costs down, and where I come from, every little bit helps. So, Mary, did you want to talk to your slide? Take the opportunity to brag about yourself and your team.
Just to clarify about the property tax, the liability that we saw as an increase in the budget line, Mayor and Council, good evening. It's actually, the actual cost is already big. Currently, it's already 141,000. So what's been done in the past, they have kept it at 44,000, I think, each year. So it's only now, since we're really going through it with a fine comb and just looking at line by line, now we can say, oh, hey, by the way, we can't hide this anymore. We have to put it up, because in the past, the average insurance cost is actually over 100,000 anyway. It's just the budget was always 44,000. So this year we thought, well, 3-year average is 339, so we put it up to the actual cost. So that's just to your point. I wasn't prepared, but okay. All right, so finance, my team, they're here, so I just want to say thank you. For Beatrice Wisely and Jacqueline Mejias, thank you so much. They've worked so hard for the past almost 4 months that I've been here. I can't even imagine that I've been here 4 months. But God willing, tomorrow, right, Jacqueline, will be current by our month of June. Good job, girls, good job. Okay, but we have so much more to do. I think what's important is that we have to establish processes in place and put adequate resources in the right places. This is to ensure the timely, obviously, and accurate financial reporting. I think when we first came, it was like, what, we were struggling with February or whatever, but we have looked at Fund View, put different processes in place, use the features that each system brings us, and take that and leverage that to our more efficiency, more efficient and more, I guess, defined processes in finance. Also, to set up current, so right now, I don't know if you know this, but I have to learn 3 different systems. One is FundView, which is what we use, and then ClearGo, which is the budgeting software, and then Legacy FundView that house UB and Court. So in my mind, I have to wrap my arms around 3 of the systems, make them talk together, and make sure that whatever we export to one, we can import to another, as opposed to like entering it, one by one, which I believe happened last year. Not going that way this year. Okay, and what's good about that is that I am expecting us to get really good grants this year. Already, the police department talking to me about grants that they want to do. Already, the fire department is talking to me about grants. And unless we have the system in place, I'm gonna be pulling my hair out. Just like we have to report ARPA with a lot of incorrect numbers, and we just don't want that. We want to make sure that we keep our grants, grow with our grants, so this is the way we're gonna do it. Another thing that I would really like to talk about, I don't see Derek, so I don't want to steal his thunder, but I want to say that finance should not only be the one who sits there with a ruler, stop spending, stop spending, stop spending. I don't think that way. I think we should work together. And as opposed to just reporting revenue, I think we, the numbers geek, should look for opportunities for revenue leakage, right? Because right now, is Derek coming? Okay, so right now, correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, there are 2,500 houses, but I want to say 362 meters are not working. Right? So if you look at the total maximum amount that we can generate through water, for water and sewer, we are only getting, what is that? Do the math. So 362 meters are not working. And with this grant, praise God, we will be able to replace all our analog meters and water registers, basically. And that's one. And another thing I think that we could do, I would love to be able to do a cash flow projection, because I don't see one right now. And I think that would also really help by looking closely at our money market. Like I think I mentioned it last time that we have been able to secure 4% for our money market. But who knows? With all the grants coming in, then we can save a lot more and maybe put some in mutual fund and make it grow that way. And the last thing that I really want to do is to provide 5-year financial plan. I think this would be really good to actually define our financial position for the upcoming community growth. But any question on my slide?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
I think they're good.
Thank you.
All right, the next department, and if Sandra wants to come up, she can. The human resource is near and dear to me because this is the heartbeat of your culture and keeping the stability in the city. And you'll notice she added expense, but I think it's very necessary. It had been so stripped out that, and just to put it in perspective, that increases 0.1% when it comes to the budget, but yet it has probably one of the highest returns on investment when it comes to retaining your employees.
Thank you, Jonathan. Mayor, council, good evening. So yes, it is a bit of an increase, but the objectives, as you can see, is talent acquisition and retention. So thinking outside the box, you know, implementing the QR code on the flyers that are posted throughout the city, flyers that are posted on Facebook, any kind of social media that's available, I'm gonna be there, as long as it's free. I don't like paying for stuff like that. Use all the available resources that they are, and we will do that. Also, we have a fabulous city here. We have the city, we have SWAU, we have the ISD. You know, let's get our resources out there as far as recruiting, internships, maybe somebody that's gonna be graduating, working half a day, going to school half a day, maybe working here half a day. Let's reach out to our citizens here, local, and our resources. What are we doing to retain, you know, our employees? Oh my goodness, y'all were fabulous last year with the first responders and doing that pay increase. We're looking to do some other super stuff here coming soon that we'll share with y'all. As far as employee engagement, you know, I like to, when someone's promoted or someone does something, you know, let's give them a hand, hooray, you know, whether it be a small little gathering, but let's acknowledge them. As far as legal compliance and management, you know, federal, state, and local, we must adhere. We have to comply to their rules. We're getting better, way better since, you know, working closely with finance, so we'll get that taken care of soon. As far as implementing best practices here in the city with risk management, we're looking at training, thinking outside the box. I don't think we've had, besides cybersecurity training, I'm looking at sexual harassment, customer service. Yeah, we know how to say hello and greet everybody, but it goes above and beyond that. That's just some of the stuff that I'm looking at. Do y'all have any questions for me?
On that customer service piece, the training, is that something that you would do in-house, or would we hire somebody to come in and do that?
Any kind of training that I provide will be free, and it'll be through TML. Well, we initially pay TML for their services, but it's all included year-round, so TML will provide, and it's all video. They'll go on and log on, and they'll have to look at just like the cybersecurity video, it'll be training as well. Now, I am speaking with them right now, trying to see if we can have like on-site training as well. We did one not too long ago. Well, both of y'all were there for the First Amendment auditors training. So just looking at that, you know, taking advantage of any kind of free training that we can get here on site.
Yeah, I thought that was very beneficial, so I wanted to thank you publicly for doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and oh, sorry.
Were you?
I thought someone,
Uh,
yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead. No, Council.
All right, I'll ask the question. So I was still on the training topic. So with the budget that you have, how much of an increase are we talking about for just the training portion alone, which I think is a great idea. Obviously, I felt like it was beneficial. One, I liked the fact that you didn't just limit it to us. You reached out to other cities and other entities in the Johnson County area, which to me focuses on unity in Johnson County, and so I appreciate that. But what kind of value are we talking about dollar-wise? Are we talking like another in that 18,000, are we thinking like an extra $6,000 in training? So that, is there an actual number that's, no?
No, as far as the training with TML, that is paid annually, and that is something that we do once a year. So that's all included. As long as we comply with TML, they will provide any kind of resources as far as the training, so.
The increase on the line item for that is about $1,800 for
Yeah.
the training, but that's again, and she really did a good job of looking at things and pulling out, okay, we don't really use this, so she's kind of pulled it from here and reallocated it to, again, places that will support us and be more cost effective.
And the only other thing I wanted to say was, as far as the employee engagement and relationships, call me when you guys are having a party, okay?
Well, we're having one next Friday, but, oh, well, I always share the information with our administrators, and then Holly or Jonathan will share it with y'all, so, yeah.
Yeah, it's National Watermelon Day.
It is on Sunday, but we're going to serve it on Friday.
Yeah, we're gonna do watermelon, so,
Yeah.
yeah. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So then what is the bulk of the 18,000?
Most of it goes into employee, so here's the thing. It's, again, with the constant turning and churning, it's kind of like, well, we're gonna pull it from the departments. We're gonna put it in the departments. We're gonna pull it from the departments. And HR, obviously, the departments need to, you know, they need to celebrate the people within their departments because they're the ones they're close with. But collectively, we need to make sure that we're coming together as a team. That way it's not my department, your department, all that kind of stuff. So there's about a $12,000, but that's for, you know, that's for company party, you know, those types of things. And I will say, I feel bad because when Sandra first got here, she probably wasn't the most popular person because she kept looking at things we were doing and going, we can't do that. We can't do that, you know, and it was one of the typical, well, that's the way it's always been done. And it's like, but we're breaking state laws and rules and codes and, you know, even down to we can't give gift cards to employees, you know, and we were doing that, you know. So she's done a really good job. A little bumpy out the beginning just because the poor lady was the no lady, but she's trying to build, you know, ideas and things to bring us together to build that unity. Again, trying to bring stability because that's how we're going to get things done in the city.
All right, thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right.
Hold on a second.
Oh,
I was just listening, and you asked a really bad question about a breakdown, and Mr. City Manager never answered what exactly was the breakdown of the budget. They wanted a list of what was supposed to be said. You started to say something, and then you stopped, which is why I call you an idiot, but that's my personal opinion. But the question was, what was the breakdown on the budget?
no, well, and I did.
That's what, and you never answered that
I
question.
shared the training portion was the 1,800, and then the employee relations was 12,000. So, and I guess I did leave out the wellness program that, you know, that we also started because, again, one of the things I didn't mention was she's done a really good job of every month we do a wellness challenge, and by doing that, it actually helps decrease, it helps us fight the insurance cost. And again, we're not here to talk about fringe benefits, but that's next week. But anyway, so that wellness actually, it's a $4,000 investment, but I promise you, when they say we're only going to increase 2% versus 5%, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars in cost savings to the city. So,
Okay, like I said,
and just so you know, sir, at some point, this is really just to look at, again, kind of the objectives. We will be providing the actual book with all the breakdown when we get things reconstructed.
okay.
So just know this is not this session is not meant to be a line item. This session is meant to, let's look at what the departments are trying to do. So as we come together with getting closer to that final budget, where do we want to put money versus not?
Okay. Well, the only reason I'm very interested, because this is my money you're talking about spending.
Yes, sir.
So I just want to make sure it's spent responsibly.
Yep.
And if there are cutbacks, maybe some of that money can come back to me.
Mm-hmm. And we're working on that too.
Okay.
Okay. All right. The next department is the police department. Now, I want to preface this that I want to thank Chief Kidd because, again, he understands and, you know, and he said, listen, if I have to work with the same budget, you know, I will. But we all know that's another one of the departments that needs a lot of help. Now, as we move into more of these expenses and CIPs, I want council to understand that we are still, just because we say no to something doesn't mean we're not going to try to pursue it. We're going to try to pursue it through grants, through other opportunities just like with the PD building, you know, we've talked about when we get into that building and taking the loan, being able to bring kind of everything up to date. And the other area where we can solve a huge problem with the police department is, again, in this fleet program, which we will be getting to in the CIP section. But just to put it in perspective, on the week of July 1st, Unit 62, 79, 67, 63, 65, and 61 were all in the shop, and it was for more than just light bulbs being burnt out. So this is a problem that is only going to get worse and more costly. So, welcome, Chief.
Mayor, Council, this is the first I've seen this slide, so I'm digesting it at the same time that you are. Basically, I did meet with the city manager, and y'all done an amazing job supporting the department since I've been here for 2 years, trying to get the personnel up to where it is, to our staffing levels. And literally probably about an hour ago, one of our new officers came to my office and goes, "Chief, can I speak to you?" I'm all, "Sure." He goes, "I made the right decision before coming here. The city supports me. I've been able to meet with the businesses. It's an amazing community, and I know how you run this department, so we're appreciative of that." Now, I also want to preface this. We have the same operating budget that we had in 2021. So when you see the increase in our budget, it's on 3 things. It's personnel, it's on dispatching fees, it's on vehicle maintenance. So when you see a $90,000 raise in our budget, it's not about body cameras, radios, tasers, all this other stuff that's in desperate need for this department. It's on those 3 big ticket items. And they're not going away. We're competitive right now with pay. We're competitive like every 6 months you have to reevaluate it. Our officers do amazing controlling the overtime budget. They don't own their time. If we give them advance notice, they flex their time. If they're off normally on Wednesday, Thursday on any given week, but there's a big event on 4th of July parade or something, they'll say, "Okay, we'll come in that day, we'll take off another day." So we don't pay that overtime. That's them helping out with the scheduling part of it. So kudos to them and kudos to our staff. Our body camera system and our car systems, our camera, is on its last leg. It was brought in 2018. It's called WatchGuard system, but since these technical things that we had to go through, we're operating on 1 server. Could last another year? I'm hoping so. But if that server goes down, we're going to have to fork out at least $65,000 to $75,000 to revamp all our camera systems. So city manager's aware of that, and we're working with each other. But I'm excited to see what the sales tax comes up, what our finance director does with our city, and giving them a chance instead of saying, "Okay, we need $700,000 things right now." I want to see what our city's capable of doing. I know our departments can meet that challenge. So is there any questions you have? What I passed around right now is our 2-year goal. If you want to give all of that in the 1-year goal, I can appreciate that too, whatever. But I do want to give some grace to the city because y'all have helped us out tremendously, and hopefully we're providing a good service for our community. But yeah, digest that, and we'll talk more whenever we're ready.
And again, this is an area, and once the final tax numbers come in and everything, we're going to discuss kind of the financing on the police building. And again, the goal, even my first month here, you know, when that dropped in my lap, at that point, we were looking at, you know, financing, kind of getting things up to speed with IT and all the security and everything, but look at maybe adding a couple cars in there too. But then, you know, this new opportunity with the fleet program kind of, I think, provides a better way to fix the biggest problem is space and vehicles for the police department, and of course the technology. And so we'll get into that a little bit more once we kind of get the final tax numbers in. So again, thank you, Chief.
I'm going to ask it's probably a dumb question, but it has to do with like tasers and, you know, the guns and things that they carry. Are those personal items? Do they?
The department issued. Each person has their own particular taser. Sometimes we can check them out. Same thing with radios. It all goes to one individual officer.
Okay, so even I saw Legos attached to a guy, so even that is, I'm just kidding.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And Lieutenant Steele is very passionate about grants, and as we are too, and again, with us kind of fixing the foundational things, we are going to be able to chase after a lot more grants. So we are very aware of that as an avenue. So All right, Chief Warner. So,
Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens. Just a couple of opening statements. One, I just wanted to emphasize what you're looking at tonight is very high level. The numbers still aren't quite finalized. And also what you're looking at currently is operational budget. Later on, we're going to be talking about capital improvements, and then even much later on, we'll be talking about personnel. However, for the operational budget, matter of fact, all of them, they dovetail. They all tie together. You make a change one, it's going to affect different other accounts. So this budget for the fire department was built with the assumption that we are going to be adding staffing this year, this coming fiscal year. A minimum of 3, we're looking at 4. And we can talk a little bit more about that when that time comes, but I think I've got a pretty good deal that's being worked on for that. All right, so you can see there's been an increase from over last year's budget, and I will discuss some of that as we discuss the objectives. Objective 1 for me is to continue to provide quality service with quality personnel to our citizens. You ask any firefighter in the nation what their mission is, every one of them has the same answer. And that's to save lives and property in that order. That's our primary mission. But there's a lot that goes on with that. It's more than just the big red truck showing up when you need help, or the ambulance showing up when you need help. So along with that, we also provide community service. What you're going to hear a little bit about throughout all the departments is that our city is growing. You notice all the subdivisions that are coming in, and a whole lot of interest in our community, and I think it's wonderful. But along with that, you have more people get here, and they need more services. Has anybody heard Dr. Stevens talk about what they're doing at the school district in preparation for all of this? You got a lot more kids that are going to be going to school, right? So they're looking at building a new building as well. So along with that, part of our community outreach, how many of you remember Fire Prevention Week? Yeah. So that costs money to go out, and we actually go do that as a service for the community, for the various schools. And, we're going to give out some coloring books, some of which we can print for free, except for the cost of the paper and the ink, but there are other items that do cost. I have instructed our fire marshal to make preparations for that, and so we are looking at an increase in supplies for the community outreach. But also along with that, I've given him instructions to begin making more of an outreach to our elderly community. I want him visiting the nursing homes and other groups where we can talk to that other demographic about fire safety. Talk about adding some people for the department. Our current staffing levels, we have 4 a day. Those 4 firefighter paramedics, dual certified. We run an ambulance service, and we provide fire protection. According to NFPA standards, which is National Fire Protection Association standards, specifically 1710, it states that we should be at 6 a day right now to meet standards. So we've always been understaffed, and with the help of our community and with the graciousness of council, we've been fixing that issue since I've been here. So this next year, we're looking at adding some people to our roster to help with that. Prior to coming here, I ran some quick numbers, and I will tell you some of them I'm not 100% reliant on. I'd like to vet them a little more, and I'll explain. But in fiscal year 22-23, the fire department ran 1,449 calls. That one I'm not 100% sure about, because that was also around the same time we were transitioning to a new records management system. And we kind of went back and forth between 2 systems, so those numbers may not be 100% correct. But let's take a look at that. Roughly 1,500 calls. In 23 and 24, that number went to 1,875. Currently, we're at 1,654 with projections to reach 2,204 by the end of this fiscal year. So you can see that our call volume is increasing rapidly. With the projected growth Let's say we're gonna add, let's just use a number. Let's say we're gonna add 2,500 people to our population. We're looking at a 36% growth in population, which correlates to roughly 683 calls, increase in call volume, an additional 683, which would put us at a projected 2,558 calls per year. If you divide that by 365, we're moving from 5 calls a day up to around 7. Doesn't sound like a lot until you consider turnaround time on scene. For the ambulance, which the ambulance runs about 70% of our call is EMS, turnaround time is at minimum an hour. That's time to go out, take care of the issue, pick up the patient, get them to the hospital, do patient transfer at the hospital, any other life-saving needs that the hospital needs from us. And then we have to decontaminate the ambulance and then get back into service. So it's roughly around an hour. Sometimes it can be up to 4 hours depending on that particular call. If you're running even at 6 calls a day at 4 hours apiece, that's a full day. You're up all the time. Just last week, I myself was at a structure fire for roughly 5 hours. And so each call is, it's not go out there, take care of it, turn around, and come back. You could be there for a while. Again, even if we add only 3 this year, we're still understaffed at current standards. I would also say that there are some projected changes to NFPA 1710 for ambulance service. Right now, it states that you have to have as many people on there as it needs to take care of the issue. So it could be 2 people, it could be 3. There is now a movement to push that to 4. So we may be looking at that in the near future as well. Some of the monies that we're requesting in the operational budget would be for what's known as the TIFMAS project. Texas Intramural Fire, I can't remember. Basically, this is for forestry firefighting. To put it in a nutshell, and we do plan on having some people come up and talk to you about this so you understand it in depth. The state of Texas in the TIFMAS program can call a particular fire department that is registered in that program, and then we can send assistance somewhere else. In turn, they will reimburse us costs for that. So it's not going to cost as far as our personnel going. It will cost up front, but that gets reimbursed. But in essence, it'll be like the lease program. We will be leasing our vehicles that we send to the state, and they would pay us for those uses. So that is a particular form of revenue that we're looking at. And I've been working with the city manager on this, and we've got a really good plan in place. But in particular, I've been working with the last 2 city managers on this project as well, and we've been slowly preparing for it over time. Thank you. Texas Intrastate Fire Mutual Aid System. It's a mouthful. With the addition of personnel, let me go back to that real quick. There's all these spin-off costs, so it's not going to be just the payroll and the insurance and the workers' comp, but embedded in the budget that you're looking at are the increased PPE, personal protective equipment, the bunker gear, SCBA's, uniforms, training, various supplies around the station, janitorial and station supplies. So there's that trickle-down effect, as well as additional station maintenance. You'll also notice in here there's an increase in vehicle maintenance.
So Chief,
Yes,
before you leave the personnel
Yes, sir.
part of it, so I see a number here, and you've mentioned 3, and then sometimes you say 4.
Correct. We're looking at that.
Yes, so which number's included in this 119?
I've built it on 3.
3?
Because if I do get a 4th, it'd be administrative.
Oh, okay.
So-
Thank you.
Oh, no, not a problem. Thank you. Please, if anybody has questions, feel free. Another big, there were several items with increased costs, and one of those was vehicle maintenance. So even though we have some newer vehicles, we still have older vehicles that are requiring more maintenance. You'll see it in just a little while when we start talking about capital improvement. I've actually put in there, it's time to get another ambulance. Estimated cost on that's about $450,000. And then you're thinking, well, we just got a new one. Well, that new one replaced a very old one. We must have two. So now we have another old one. Additionally, the new one, the quote-unquote new one, is nearly 4 years old, and it's got about 110,000 miles on it already. It's run thousands of calls. So it's time again. And then state of Texas graciously gave us another unfunded mandate. Taking effect this next fiscal year, the state of Texas has now said that all Texas Commission on Fire Protection firefighters will have cancer screening at no cost to the firefighter. So that's going to come out of city budget. The law regarding that has not quite settled yet. So they're still talking back and forth about what kind of tests are going to be required and things of that nature. And then the industry will respond by coming up with a cost. But I did talk to a trusted industry expert who said to budget about $800 per firefighter. It looks like the way it will pan out is that for every firefighter that has been a certified firefighter for 5 years will be tested, and then every 3 years after that. So even with, I'm sorry? After somebody has been a firefighter through the Texas Commission on Fire Protection for 5 years, they must be tested. And then at every 3 years after that is the way it looks like that law is going to play out. So even though we have a relatively young department, what the law does, it specifically states, at least what I'm expecting, is that if they've been a firefighter for 5 years, not if they worked for the Keene Fire Department for 5 years. So we might have somebody with 4 years as a firefighter that would just be getting hired. We'd have to test them next year. So we're prepping for that. It looks like that law will come into effect in June of next fiscal year. And so we need to be ready for that. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Hey, Chief.
Yes.
So you said that the program that you are mentioning about the Texas Interstate Fire Mutual, is it aid system?
TIFMAS is easier.
TIFMAS, yes. So, I know some cities are using that program, and it works very well because the way they compensate,
Correct.
it's not just the regular leasing. They give you because they don't have overhead once the emergency is done. So in a way, they are trying to help local, economy in a way to keep up with the fire department and emergency services. So by utilizing that, they have to, which vehicles will they be using? Is it the bush truck or brush truck, or are they going to use the whole kind of fleet system that we have?
So that depends on what kind of level we're going to go into. What we're looking at is wildland firefighting, which is very specific, although we could also go under the all hazards. So we could do both. So for example, if we were registered under the all hazards response, we would have sent people and equipment to the flooding down south, and they would have been there to help out. And then also with that in mind, for that help, the state would then reimburse the city and pay extra for the equipment that was used. They would pay for that use. We're not in that yet. The wildland firefighting part of it, we're looking at sending a brush truck and our tanker. Those would be recompensated very, very well. And so, as you know, we are looking at receiving a very brand new brush truck again that was decided on several years ago, but it's taken this long to get it built. That money is already available and ready to purchase. We are going to look at hanging on to the old brush truck, and then we could send one or the other on a response for the TIFMAS program while still maintaining resources here for our community.
And then my second question is,
Yes.
so if you were to start this program or register, with the state, do you have enough personnel who are willing to go? Because sometimes they will call you and say, we want you to go to maybe El Paso.
Correct.
Or we want you to go to but it's just 2 hours away, Oklahoma, whatever, around area. So do you have enough staff during that time to be able to maintain the operation at the same time?
Yes.
You have.
Yes. So like I said, I've been preparing for this for a couple of years now, working on getting ready for this particular program. I've already had talk with all current staff, and they are aware of it. Not only that, but I attempted to talk to all of their spouses and family and girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever the case may be, so that they would understand. Right now, the expected deployment, if somebody goes out on one of these deployments, they're expected to be gone for roughly 2 weeks, 12-hour days. So if that's happening, that leaves a vacancy in our department, which would be backfilled with overtime. The state would reimburse us for that overtime. So it's very good for the employees, and it's very good for the city as well. As far as having enough members, if we don't have members that can backfill, then I just say we're not going to deploy that particular time, and we stay where we're at, and we get a chance later on. But beyond that, I've already worked an agreement at a county level where even if we don't have enough staff, we can supplement from other area departments that they will send staff over to go with our equipment, or we can send staff to go with theirs. So we're developing those interlocal agreements there so we can make all this work, and it'd be a good PR for not only our city but for our county as well, when we can send help down for the flooding victims or the wildfires that occur throughout the state and beyond. This is not just limited to just the state of Texas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question for you, Chief.
Yes.
The older ambulance that you just mentioned that you're thinking we are going to need a new one, which is $450,000 roughly. What would the old one potentially sell for? Can you sell that to another municipality? How does that work?
We could potentially sell it. It's not going to have a whole lot of value. I don't have a number to give you. What I've typically done is I include that as a trade-in.
Okay.
And then we get credit for that, and that lowers the cost of the new vehicle.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chief.
All right. These next ones are fun for me because, well, we don't have to spend a lot of time on them. So, code enforcement, kudos to John Johnson and Don, who oversees this, Don Martin. Just real quick, increase compliance to local laws and ordinances, regulation to promote public health and safety, maintain property value by ensuring compliance to local standards, and then promote and increase marketability of local properties. So, obviously, that is an area that even today, he came and showed some pictures of an area that had kind of gotten out of control, and we exercise our authority to get it taken care of. And so I was very happy to see that. And again, properties look good. It's good value for the city. So as you can see, only $80 increase. So I don't see any cuts needed to go there. Development services. This next one's fun, because I love this kind of expense. You'll see there's a $104,000 increase, but that is because we're expecting increased revenue to counter that of $225,000. And that's with Don going out and meeting with the builders and, what they're expecting from permit fees and, plat fees and different licensing fees. So although this is an increase in cost, it's a necessary increase in cost because, again, as I said, I'd like to see our city continue to focus on revenue. So with revenue comes cost.
Speaking of those fees, have we done a assessment with our surrounding communities, what they're charging for those various fees? Are we competitive?
I think what you're thinking is this includes impact fees, and, no? Oh, okay, just the fees. Well, so, go ahead, come on up, Don.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As he mentioned, that department should be pretty much self-funded. So, like he mentioned, there's going to be an increase in revenue, which will cover the cost of the increase in inspection fees as well. And I've been going around and compiling lists, and this is something we've been trying to work on for a couple of years, is our current fees as well. Not only from, garage sale signs to, renting the community center, because that's all kind of an ordinance together. So I've been getting with other departments and working on that. And hopefully, once budget is kind of finalized and done, then that's something we can hit headstrong with those. One of our third-party inspectors is raising the price on their inspections by $2 or $3, depending on the type of inspection. But what we charge will still cover that cost. So, does that answer your question?
And we will be, my staff, if you go into my office, you'll see a really big stack and then a small stack next to it. The big stack is the budget, and after we get through budget is the fee schedule. That is something that we'll discuss too as we go through some of these. But that is an area that we haven't changed a lot of these fees in pre-COVID, so that is something we'll be addressing.
Well, that was what prompted my question, because we missed out on all those impact fees because we were slow to pull the trigger on it. I don't want to miss out on all these other little incidental fees that these builders have to pay. So that was just my thought, but I'm glad you're on it.
But we're working on it.
Yeah,
yes.
thanks, guys.
Okay, I have a question. Oh, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Council, I know every year we normally talk about projection. We are expecting to get this. And, since COVID, things normally don't go the way we are projecting. We might get this revenue, and then we have to calibrate, go back. So I know the developers are not paying as much as they are supposed to pay, because we do give them some deal or an agreement, the 380 agreements and all that stuff. And so they are not pulling the full weight. They are not paying per whatever we were supposed to charge them. So this projection you are talking about, is it something that is in the works? People are putting applications, they want to do projects, or you are thinking because we have the impact fees and these other fees, that people might actually participate more next year as compared to this year, and that's what you are trying to project to us, that we might get more money? Is it something that, yeah, you can.
Go ahead, if you're done.
Yes, okay. I'm just saying, are we projecting on something we are hoping it will come, or are we talking about the projection based on the applications and some of the things that are in works? Because we know the big developers are not paying those FT fees because of we are trying to make them to take the risk to invest in Keene. So right. The projection, is it based on the actual numbers, or we are hoping people will be building and paying the fee and all that stuff?
Yeah, like Jonathan mentioned, I went to each developer. I went to John Houston, I went to D.R. Horton, I went to Lennar, the ones that are currently building or getting ready to build in our city, and said, what are your projections? What are your plans? We're trying to do our budget, so I need to know, how many houses do you think that you're gonna build? And what we came up with roughly was maybe 90 houses. Maybe 90 homes in the next fiscal year. It could be more, it could be less. It all depends on the market, interest rates, stock market, everything. All that could change. But I based it on what they're expecting. Took those numbers. So yes, those homes, they've already been promised. So there's no impact fees in those numbers that, revenue or expenses as well. I did try to put in a couple of hopefully potentially businesses that we're working on right now into some of that, but that may or may not come to fruition. But yeah, so these are pretty good base numbers, but it all depends on the market.
So you said average 200 and how much?
Well, I think I projected 400 and some odd.
I think initially we projected 300.
Right.
And then we saw there were some, I guess in the news and how the
Yes.
And that's what the numbers they came up with. I think in the last presentation I did, I broke it down by subdivision. Councilman Goodwin, I think that's like, what, 30?
Yeah, and so again, those numbers are, you know, based on the experts. And then, you know, each house, the permit fees vary depending on the valuation or the size of the house. So I tried to take what we did this past year, took 100-plus homes, and said, okay, the average permit was X amount of dollars, you know, so tried to come up with a median on that, and then said, okay, if we're building 90 homes and the median is this, that's kind of how we came up with those numbers.
Okay. And are these 90 homes, are you expecting them to come online by the end of 2026? Or they're just saying they are looking into building 90 homes in the near
Well,
future?
I projected that 90 homes will be built. It could be, some of them could be done, I mean, Sunset Ridge, which is off of Business 67 and Old Betsy. We've done the final walkthrough, and they're finalizing some stuff, and as soon as we get all the bonds and the proper paperwork, we'll accept that. They've already submitted 20 homes for that.
Okay.
So now those homes may start, they may not be done. We will charge those building and permit fees, you know, boom, when they get their permit. So, you know, it might be $5,000, $10,000 per home in fees, but those fees may not be paid out all at once, you know, because it may take 6 months to build the one house. And then the inspection company charges us when they do the inspections. So, again, this is the best we could do, projecting this.
Yes, and I understand. Thank you, thank you.
And again, just to reiterate, we're trying to set this up properly, so it's always a guessing game. Out in the business world, it's a guessing game. But our job is to try to minimize and get as close as we can. So this isn't just us willy-nilly going, hey, we are having conversations, we're analyzing the data, you know, the way it should be, so.
Right, and if, you know, they only build 60 homes, then our revenue is gonna go down a little bit, but our expenses will go down as well. Again, this department should be pretty much self-funded by the fees that we charge.
Okay.
What am I looking at? That's too small, I can't see that.
Councilman Goodwin, maybe this will help a little bit. So to my knowledge, I work a lot with Amber and Dawn in projecting these numbers. So what we've done is we're looking at current year. Okay, this is the numbers, okay, I think 70, okay. Amber gave me the number of permits that we have processed and has been paid between January 1st to, at that time, I think, July 17th, right, a couple of weeks ago. There was like 78 permits, and the total permit income that we received till date is $392,000. So I think this is, and this is actually, the 90 houses are actually our more conservative numbers. Initially, we were at 375, and then he said, nope, back it up. So, and then we went to 300, and then after we saw the news, we went back out and asked them individually, each subdivision, and get the final numbers. If I'm not mistaken, this is the numbers I got, is 30 houses for the Canyon, and 30 houses for Sunset Ridge, 20 houses for Ashton Homes, and 10 for Stonehurst. And 40 out of 90 will have water and sewer.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I have a question for somebody out here, hopefully. So a citizen actually asked me this today, which is the impact fees that we get. Does that go into a separate account, or does that go straight to a water and sewer fund account? Does anybody know the answer to that one? Please. Since I was asked, I said, I don't know that, but I'll ask tonight.
Yes, it goes into our miscellaneous revenue line. It has its own GL code, so at any time someone asks me, hey, Mira, out of $3,400,000, how much is impact fees? God willing, I'll be able to say, oh, it's this, and this. Yes, it's actually broken out by even the permit fees, even the miscellaneous, no, the plat fees, everything, the water taps, the water box, they all have their own like GL line.
So is that still considered to be in the pool of the general fund?
No.
No.
No,
No.
Okay.
that's
Has to
enterprise
go to
money.
water.
That's okay, that's why I'm asking, so.
Yeah, so,
It
no.
has to go to
Okay.
water.
200
Good.
cannot be mixed with one.
That's
Yes,
good.
sir.
Good answer.
And then anything collected for an impact fee can't be just used for anything. It can only be used to upgrade our systems. So, again, there's specific guidelines on how you can spend that money as well. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martin.
Done. All right, municipal court, objectives: provide timely case processing, create efficient operations, provide courteous and professional services. Not a whole lot of change there. And again, as I go through some of these, if you have questions, stop me, otherwise I'm going to keep moving. Community center. And this is an area that we see potential for community engagement. You know, Mira and her team have a lot of great plans, ideas for this one, but objective is to create a self-sustaining business model for the community's facility, which right now it is not. Offer social, educational, wellness programs to help enhance the quality of life for city residents. Provide a well-maintained space to facilitate the community's social gatherings and local community events. Again, you'll see not much change there. So, and then we get to the summary slide. And here in a minute, well, we're about to be into the CIPs, but this is just kind of a summary of all the numbers that you've kind of seen. Again, I wish that, you know, we were doing this in reverse, because our biggest nut is going to be employees and fringe benefits, but, and then, let's see. Government activities, revenue projection comparison versus operational budget and CIP cost. So, as you can see, kind of line by line, there is a, you can see by the percentage, is it an increase, how much of an increase versus the decrease, and then the CIP. So, any questions? This is, again, more just summary. Go ahead.
I do. So in the beginning, when we first started, the slide that came up said that there was a $238,000 increase. And so line by line, each one that we've been going through, I'm adding and subtracting, got this fancy calculator here, and it comes up to $451,000. So that's what the minuses and adds, and as close to I can possibly get. I didn't add in the cents. But with that, and of course, even if I took off the 104,000 from the slide we just saw, that we're hoping equates to itself washing, that still leaves us with 347,000. So where do we get where's the I'm just.
This is just to make you all aware of departmentally what we're trying to accomplish, and please keep in mind that the things that are not factored in here are grants. You know, loans for the PD building and funding a lot of those things, the fleet program, you know, those types of things. So this is all very early. This is just to bring to your attention kind of what it is, the headwinds that we have, so that, you know, when we sit down and present the book, you know, what is it that you feel the community is most passionate about? And this is just to kind of let the community be aware as well. So trust me, I was hoping that the increase in revenue and the increase in expense lined up, but I knew that wouldn't be the reality. So again, there's going to be other avenues to fund some of these things that are not factored into this. This is just kind of the expense right now.
And I appreciate that, and I guess the reason why I'm bringing that to light is because, you know, obviously operational-wise, I want to make sure we stay within our means, right? And then with the revenue side increasing as well, because we know we're going to get more rooftops and things like that, you know, I'm looking at a scale and where it's tipping, right? And so if it's tipping in the right direction, I don't have a problem with what we're doing, you know, but if it's tipping in the wrong direction, well, then me and Mira and 5 other people up here are probably going to not enjoy that, right? And so I'm asking as a conservative, and I'm a numbers guy, and so I'm just making sure that I didn't want it to be a typo, so thank you for your explanation.
You're reading it correctly, and again, we're still formulating that plan to try to we're not going to be able to accomplish everything. It's going to take time, and you know, we are going to formulate a plan, and we're going to pick, okay, what is the most, you know, urgent items that need to be fixed first, and as we focus on the rooftop growth and the sales tax revenue growth, then we can start hitting some of these other areas. So, yeah, no, you're reading it right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
All right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Council, I know I've been in trouble for saying this in the past, but as I told you, me and my bosses tell me this is what we want, and I bring it before here, and I've always told you I don't take it personal. You might say, oh, you know, why you keep singing that song? You know, you need to stop. But if I can just remind the council, Councilman Bob Chapman, I know wasn't here. Troy Smith used to come here a while back. I think he was in that budget meeting. And then we have Councilman Chuck Easley. I think it's your first time, and I know you might not be aware of this, but I did speak about, I know our tax rate, the property tax, which does fund most of these projects. And by the way, I've always said, regardless of what is said behind closed doors and also in public, I've always said I'm proud of our city employees. If there was something that if we had money, we'll give them the best tools to do their jobs. And I've been very consistent with that. But the reality also is my boss, who sends me here, always reminds me and says, remember we are at 0.8, 34134. That's our tax rate. And I know we are able to net in through that, like our last year's kind of projection, around 3.2, I think 3.2 million, which is good. That's good revenue for a small city like us. And I did recommend also in the last budget cycle that we had here of pushing it to 0.82, that is 658, that was supposed to capture still positive $25,000 in excess, because our rate did not go down. So when I'm looking at this, even though I haven't seen the details, like line items, I know you're saying you are going to get that next month. The admin, the cost is going to go up by up to $25,868. We have non-departmental, it's showing here $138,726. And then human resource, the cost is going up by $18,802. The police department, I'm seeing here, it's going up $50,000. And the fire rescue, it's going up by $119,851. And on average, we have development services, which is economic development in general. The cost is projected to go up to maybe $104,410. And I know there's a justification because the Type A, Type B board might help a little bit, but still we'll have to come up with some of the money from our end, which is okay. But now that cost goes on average up to $458,654. And you might ask yourself, what is the problem with that? I know there are other things here that I'm not even touching. So, as a city, we know we get governed by the capital. There's politics going down there. So there's a projection that our school year might be able to request for more money for their development, which means that 0.834134, the current one, if the voters approve, the next spending for the school is going to go up within the Keene city limits. And then we have this, on average, 458,000 that might go up. But there's something that we have to be aware of. There's a bill that they pass. They say if you're going to raise the property tax for the taxpayer, you know, to put the tag on their homes to go up, you have to put it on the ballot. In the past, the council have always said, hey, we can just do that. Let's crank up the price. But this year, or next year, I think, we might be forced to have to go to the voters and tell them, we are raising your taxes. And what if the voters say, you know what, I don't want my taxes to go up?
Well,
So then what do? Do you cut services? I know it's a projection. We haven't actually spent it. So in that scenario, what do we do?
well, I don't want us to go down that rabbit trail right now, because again, tonight is to look at objectives by department, and I have no control over what the ISD does, but we have very much control. I shouldn't say we don't even really. We have good things that are coming down the pipe that are going to help our citizens from our end, okay? But I don't want to go on that tonight because I don't like to deal in nebulous. I want to give you kind of the facts, okay? So I hear what you're saying, and my goal is not to present this so we can increase taxes.
No. I'm just saying, when you increase the cost of service, the homes are not going to come online just like that. Yeah. It might take a while.
Right, and we're not going to say yes to everything.
And that's what I'm saying. The revenue, I don't think sales tax is going to increase. I'm not saying that you need to worry about it, but I'm just saying based on this, everything is going up. We haven't even talked about the insurance, and there's also water here going up. So what I'm saying is, what will that scenario look like? You have to think about that, because you might put it on the ballot and the taxpayer will say, I don't want my taxes to go up. Do you cut services? Because everything I'm seeing here is going up. I'm not saying, like, you're saying I don't want to get into that, but that's where we are heading to, and that's what the budget is all about. Where are we going to get this extra that we are projecting to spend? And I'm for employees to get everything they want. And this is not personal, like I'm trying to say, I don't want this to go up. The cost is going up. But per the state law, once we get to that point, can you paint that scenario to us in the next budget, maybe, and say, if things were to go well, this is our spending? I'm just saying it's good to be aware.
Well, if I could interject just for a moment, on a personal note, I've got to catch a plane here in the short. So if we could keep this going tonight and address that in the future, I would personally appreciate it, if we could.
Yeah.
Only because I've got to leave.
Yeah, again, those are questions that we're going to address at a later time. So I don't want to go down that rabbit trail right now, is all I'm saying.
All right, thank you.
It will get addressed, I promise. Yeah, it has to be. Okay, this one is, again, I love water and sewer, just because it's enterprise. And you can see they're projecting with the growth an additional increase at the top line there. And the increase in cost right now kind of aligns with the increase in CIP, which also includes needing to move a sewer line that's very costly over there at the canyons. So the good news is this is another department that's, you know, kind of self-sustaining, and we're good. So I'm going to try to move a little bit quicker here. Mira, if you want to come up for the CIP portion now, she's going to kind of move into this
Okay, thank you. So, CIP, sorry, I have to like turn on my brain. I got to catch your breath. Okay, all right, capital improvements. So usually there are 5 capital improvements that we talk about generally in finance. That's usually land, building, any major equipment that we will purchase, vehicles included, and any major repairs that we do to any land or building. So that's the main ones. And then, as you can see here, just for the purpose of this budget workshop, I split it into 2. The first slide that you will see here is a capital improvement for non-vehicle. So these are the items that each of the departments listed are requesting. There are non-vehicle items. I think Chief Kidd spoke about the BWCs, right? Yeah, okay. And it will cost us $60,000. And fire department, the ambulance, $450, and life pack, $80,000. There's another rescue tool that he's talked about that's going to cost us $35,000, and a couple of building repairs. Like I said, you know, if a repair is done to an asset, and if it prolongs its useful life. I'm sorry, I'm mixing my words. If it prolongs its useful life, and if it increases the value of the asset, it is definitely CIP. So the building repairs and a station repair, $70,000. So the good thing about CIP, not only does it sit as an expense, but when we get to actually report our balance sheet, it actually sits on our asset. And our asset dictates how much is the value of the city of Keene. As per the audited financials 2022-2023, the city of Keene is valued at $16 million. Okay, and when you see assets, don't be afraid of them, because what you see here is going to sit in your asset. This will increase the value of our city. Okay, that's the way you look at it. These are good investments that we want to spend money on. Okay, and then animal control, there's some work in the animal service building. And then apparently, thank you, Derek, he shared with me there's an annual $100,000 that we set aside for our street rehab fund. And at the moment, as of June last month, the current balance on our street refund bank account is $78,242.83. So this is the capital improvement request for the non-vehicle totaling $800,000. Next,
Now,
please.
and Mira, that's something else that we've never really done is asset management, which is,
Oh, yes.
the city's probably valued it more than that.
Yes.
But that is something that we are also adding. We are going to begin doing actual asset management. So the city's actually probably worth more.
Yeah,
In
so
fact,
right
more.
now, we don't have an fixed asset module in our ERP. I have not seen one. I'm about to go and talk to some auditors about a list of our current one, and that is my objective for next year, to actually have an accurate and updated one, because it's very important. It's very important that we know how much we are worth as a city. So anyway, next please, Holly. Okay, fleet management. To lease or not to lease? That is the question. During March, a city council meeting, I think a presentation was made by Nick Harwick to address our the fleet leasing program, and I think there was some directive to get city staff to look more into it. So I'm city staff and I'm looking into it. Here's my presentation. So what I've done here in the next. Yes, please. Oh, no, is that it? Oh, sorry, go back. Yes, this one, please. Okay, so what I've done is I have divided, wait, thinking cap, okay. This is what it looks like as it is with all the vehicle requests that we have from the police department and the fire department. As it is for this year, the police department is requesting 3 new vehicles, you can see I have divided the cost analysis by the purchase cost, which is the second one on the left, and then the budgeted vehicle maintenance and repairs cost, and then the gasoline and oil, and then resale income. When the trade-in, I guess the trade-in value, or that's how much we sell the vehicles for. So, and then at the end, you'll see how many vehicles like we're requesting. So police is needing 3, fire rescue are needing 2, and you can just see down the line who are all requesting what. So only police and fire requesting for more vehicles, and code enforcement, animal control, development, and so on and so forth. I am just putting in what is already in the budget, in the operational budget that you saw a few slides ago. And so this, I'm just like breaking it down by column. And if you total that whole lot, if you add the vehicle cost, the budgeted vehicle maintenance and repair, you take then, and then you add the gasoline and oil, and then you subtract the resale income, you will come up to, okay, I have my numbers here. The total expense to get 5 vehicles, right? 5 vehicles will be $562,389. So now, what I then did was that I looked at what Nick Harwick presented to us like 4 months ago, and I looked at his projection, and I looked at it the same way. If you could go to the next slide.
Sorry.
No?
No,
Okay.
I was already there.
Yes, you're right now. Okay. So the cost of leasing, not purchase, right? Leasing is $216,000, and then the M&R is actually way higher than what we projected in our budget. The gasoline and oils might be a difference of $9,000. The resale income here, if you saw, there was $25,000. Here is $354,488. And the total cost of getting, and at the end, I need to show it. The new vehicles that he's projecting for this cost is 29 vehicles. So if you look at, if you put it together, this is what it looks like, comparing it like column to column. Wow, yeah. Self-funded on the left and enterprise on the right. I'm doing this traffic lights way. I think it's easy. Green means good. Yellow means we can talk about it. Red, it's a no-go. So if you see all greens, most greens, it's a good sign. At the end, you can ask questions, but at the end of this, what we can see that if we go with enterprise, we're actually saving money by $163,731. Now the MNR is up by 132. I thought about it, and like Jonathan and I actually talked about it. Nick is here. We can ask him. But the way I look at this, I mean, I might be wrong, but I'm talking to my friends here, Chief Kidd and Chief Warner. Wouldn't our vehicle maintenance repairs would go up if we had the luxury of rotating the cars, right? I mean, we basically can't put 7 cars and be without. Am I right to say that? No?
Email.
They're not working with me, but okay, we can ask.
Email right here.
But we can, what's that?
I've got what happens in an email right here.
Oh, there it is. Okay, so, yeah, okay, then you can speak to that, okay. And then see the resale income, and I think this is something that my apologies, I have not had time to actually do a thorough analysis for the lease program. I would like to see what the equity will be of the resale value at the end of 10 years. So if you look back, if you remember, in March, he actually projected for 10 years. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do my own projection for 10 years, and hopefully, God willing, I'll be able to provide that by next week in the last workshop, so we can see what is the benefits, what are the benefits of having or not using the fleet management service.
And just so I'm clear, Mayor, to summarize.
Yes.
5 vehicles versus 29.
Right,
Saved
and
the city
savings.
$21,741.
Yes, sir.
Over what time period?
Oh, this is just for the 25, 26, and what I was saying earlier.
We're not comparing apples to apples either.
Say that
So
again.
we're not comparing apples to apples. You're comparing buying 5 vehicles to leasing 29. I want to compare leasing 5 vehicles to buying 5 vehicles. What is the lease cost for these 5 vehicles in the first year?
I didn't do that because
Correct,
I,
because we're not
yes.
comparing apples to apples. This is still not right.
That's fair. I will do it over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then there's no reason to use like the last one
Okay.
because the last one is just the, yes, yeah.
Summary.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess.
You guys
if-
still want to jump into the lease program at 29
No.
vehicles, and that wasn't the consensus of this council. We wanted to talk about easing into it.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Oh, I guess, Mr. Easley, if you don't mind, I think what I was looking at, just for the 25, 26, to be honest with you, I was just looking at the total cost that we're willing to spend. So if we are willing to spend 5 vehicles with 562,000, what I'm saying, with 540,000, $21,000 less, we get 29. That was kind of like what I was trying to.
No, I see that,
Yes.
but we've missed a step. And
Okay.
that's comparing what is leasing the 5 vehicles going to cost us next year. That's what we need to know. For this
Okay.
budget, we need to know what these vehicles are going to cost in a lease for this 12-month period. Because this is projecting 10, 15 years out.
I don't know if
no.
Enterprise will do
Yeah.
piece. Can you speak to that, Nick?
Oh, they won't lease us 5?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we do have to have in order for us to work with you, what we're really talking about is a really holistic plan for the city, a long-term financial plan.
So we're going to get 29 new vehicles in 12 months? Well, you told us that wasn't possible.
No, we should be able to have most of them. The only ones that might delay could be some of the PD, depending on how long that outfitting actually takes. But our projection would be to deliver 29 vehicles next fiscal year. Depending on when y'all actually approve this, obviously, will dictate some of that.
Because the hard part is just going with 5 vehicles, that means we still have another 26 that are averaging 16 years old. And so, we're still going to have the cost, So,
Right, that's what we don't know.
And I'll be frank with the council, I don't, if y'all just want to go out and get 5 vehicles, you should go out and get 5 vehicles, quite frankly. What we're really doing here and trying to accomplish for the city is a long-term financial plan and create sustainability around your fleet and allow you to run a much newer fleet of vehicles. If you're just going to do the same thing over again on a small scale with leasing, it really doesn't make sense for you to go out and just lease 5 vehicles.
But
You really got to have a long-term
nobody's told us what
financial plan.
this is going to cost us this year.
Oh, this is what this is. The 5 vehicles because we're not, the 5 vehicles are if y'all keep on keeping on doing things the way you do today, making no inherent changes, and maybe potentially expecting a different result out of it, is you're gonna spend $562,000 to, what, Mira, is it?
We're going to spend 380 on 5 new vehicles.
What's that?
380
That's
on
380.
purchase
I'm
cost.
talking about the total financial position
Impact.
across the
The
fleet.
maintenance and repair is going to be there either way.
Yeah, ultimately.
You've actually predicted a higher maintenance on newer vehicles.
Yes, correct. Because, why
That's-
is that?
Yeah.
That's counterintuitive.
I know, I get it, it's completely counter to it. What I look at is, I look at what the age of your fleet is based on what the industry projections are of those and project out what I anticipate y'all in a very conservative brush of what I think's going to happen with the fleet.
With
And
higher maintenance with newer vehicles.
It obviously doesn't make sense, but that's why. And obviously, we come in lower. Because we're gonna spend what we're gonna spend. But as we run newer vehicles, we're gonna have less. And your budget is not immaterial to your expense.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
we're simply looking at from a budget standpoint. But like I said, 6 vehicles, I guarantee you, this is going to increase.
No, I know, we have a problem, we have to fix
Yeah,
it.
yes.
We need
This
to
is gonna
know,
increase the
we need,
cost.
this seems like a little smoke and mirrors.
I think
Okay.
you're, oh, sorry. I'm looking at the enterprise, MR. If I remember the last time he came, I believe that's still going to be oil changes, all the normal stuff that you would normally do. And then if you remember that police vehicles are not included in that, so we would be reliable for 100% of that cost. because they're chasing cars, and so they're not gonna do that level of service on a vehicle that's gonna have a lot of wear and tear, so.
We do have it in the budget, though. Sorry to interrupt you, but.
No, you're good.
We do have it budgeted, though.
Right,
Yeah.
but it's not something that,
It's a guaranteed cost.
yeah, and so, yeah, that's gonna be part of
So
it.
it's budgeted. And then, you know, overall, I mean, the other side of this is also you know, the whole point of this is knowing when to buy and sell assets on a much more regular basis, right?
No, I
Run a much
understand.
newer fleet of vehicles. So, I mean, just go out and lease some 5 vehicles is not really accomplishing a whole lot for the city, because y'all can just go out and buy 5 vehicles, quite frankly. Versus the plan and what we're doing, every other municipality we work with is meant to, you know, reduce costs in a sustainable fashion over a long period of time of buying and selling assets. I mean, ultimately, our operating costs should ultimately go down. But what you have budgeted doesn't mean that's what you're going to spend, right? And because you really have no control over your maintenance and repair right now, 0. And you're going to spend what you're going to spend.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay, Mayor and Council, I know Councilman Foster wants to catch a flight, but I have to ask this. One thing that I know, leasing versus buying. Universal, whether you are in US, Canada, South America, Africa, leasing is the most expensive system to own vehicles.
Why do you say that?
On a personal.
Okay. This is the problem. When you lease, on average, you are paying 14% to own. A very good example. On average, we have $45,000. We have spent here, I've seen the police and sometimes the firefighters buy some vehicles. And we tend to buy 2 vehicles or 1 vehicle per year. These 5, I don't know if our budget might be able to meet that without giving up all our vehicles, and then we are back to 0. For example, you have $45,000 on average. I know there are some, like police vehicles, they go up to 75, and, you know, because of the mileage. Our city, we are not as big as we might compare ourselves with Fourth Ward, you know, Arlington, Dallas. They do drive quite a bit. Ours, you can drive within 1 hour, you have covered everything. So we are not driving a lot of mileage. So let's take a very good example. $45,000, 1 vehicle. Let's not talk about 5 vehicles.
Okay.
On average, the vehicles lose 60% of their values within 3 years.
Okay.
Because vehicles are not assets, they are liabilities. So you have $45,000, and if I was to finance from you, come to Enterprise, I'm saying I'm buying this vehicle. On average, they are going to charge, on the higher side, 14%.
Where'd you get that number from?
Yeah, I've done some research out there.
I think
So,
you've done some
okay.
research. I'll tell
Okay.
you. I'm going to shoot you.
Okay,
I'll tell you.
let me just go. On average, if 14%, that's the value of leasing. It might sound fancy and all that stuff. So on average, the city is going to pay, on average, on the higher side, because there are some fees that you are insuring these vehicles to make sure that you don't lose the value, to be able to protect the car owners, whoever you are buying from, whether you are buying from Toyota, Ford, and others.
I apologize. I'm not tracking with you.
Okay.
Can you explain those fees?
So on average, if you were to pay 1 vehicle, 14%, the maximum that leasing can charge, we are going to pay on average for that $45,000 almost $980. For us to pay off this 45 based on 14%, it will take the city 6 years to pay this amount, but we'll end up paying 6 years, that's 72 months. We'll end up paying $70,000 on this vehicle, and we are not owning it. and then you will give us more new vehicles in between. We are not tracking that 6 years.
Okay.
We wouldn't own it for 6 years, though.
No, we would never,
We-
hold it. We would probably wouldn't hold it that long.
Yeah,
But-
because we'll never own it, because you'll give us a new one or a used one with low
Well,
mileage.
They are city assets. Even the leased vehicles are city assets.
Yes, but if you were to pay to own the vehicle at the 14%, that's the cost of leasing.
I'm not sure where you're getting 14%, but.
Yes.
Because. I think you're talking about a retail situation that maybe you're aware of versus a commercialized governmental way of doing things. And I think that's the break in the math.
No. On leasing is 14%.
Yeah, I don't know where you're getting that from, but
Okay.
like I said, it has nothing to do with what we're talking about here.
Because
I'm gonna
otherwise-
I'm going to speak really frankly with you. I'm having a hard time tracking with what you're talking about. Maybe some of our council.
Okay, let me make it simple.
Referring to.
Let me make it simple. I know you are trying to sell us service, which is okay. $45,000, one vehicle for city.
Okay.
We know we are losing 60% of the value of that vehicle within 3 years, whether we are driving it or we are parking it. So I know you are going to provide oil change and those things and take them and resell, but it's going for us to pay $45,000 on average in the real life where we are paying this vehicle so that we can own it. You are saying it's an asset. We own it. It's going to be, at the end of 6 years, it's going to cost the taxpayer $70,000.
I'm not.
And then they have zero. They don't own anything.
About the math you're talking about. Here's what I can say to you is I can talk about an individualized vehicle as it relates to governmental entities buy vehicles very differently than you do when you go to in a retail fashion. Let me finish real quick. I know you're about to say that. The average cost to buy a 3/4 ton truck in the government space last year, a 4x4 truck was about $43,000. That's what you paid in the government space, which is considerably less than what you pay in a retail-oriented fashion, right? Okay, so take that vehicle, right? And here's how we look at things. You have a choice. We buy this vehicle, like you're doing today, and you run it out to Kingdom Come, right, for a really long period of time, 10 to 14 years, right? And at the end of that 10 to 14 years, say that vehicle's worth $2,000, $3,000. So the inherent cost of that vehicle, let's call it, was $40,000 over those for the acquisition piece alone over that period of time. So your average annual cost of acquisition was around $2,700, give or take, something of that nature over that period of time. Then we look at what would that vehicle sell for at different points in time throughout its life cycle. You do two things as a government entity. You buy vehicles really well, and you drive really low miles, to your point earlier, within the size that Keene is. You're not 300 miles across, right? We're relatively condensed. And so coupled with our ability to sell vehicles, outside of public forums, we might sell that vehicle even, let's call it a couple years down the line, and we get, call it 39, 40 grand for it. So our average cost of acquisition was maybe only $2,000 a year over that couple of years we held that truck, compared to if you ran it out forever, and it cost us $2,700 a year on average in acquisition costs. And then you couple that with, technically, you should reduce your cost of maintenance and repair over that period of time. You're going to spend less on fuel because you're running newer vehicles, new engine technology. And that's how the economics work out. How the 14% plays in, I have no idea about that. I'm having a hard time tracking with that piece of it. But that's how the economics are meant to function. And, just going out and buying an asset and keeping it forever, I can tell you, I work with the largest manager of vehicles in World Tech, and tell you wholeheartedly that is not the most economical thing to do. And the biggest corporations in the world that run fleets don't run their fleets that way, because it's not the most economical thing. Yes, sir.
So I have a friend of mine who runs a computer company, and he leases vehicles for his employees.
Yep.
On a yearly basis, he makes $500 to $1,500 per vehicle after lease payment. When he trades that back in, he gets a check for that. What I'm trying to figure out is, what is this going to cost the city this year, next year, and the next year, and the next year, and the next year? Because currently, we don't have any of this money in the budget.
Well, I think we have a 10-year projection I gave to the city already in the last one of what I anticipate, and this is meant to. So if you look at just the acquisition piece, if we dial out the maintenance and repair portion, we're projecting $217,000 of acquisition expense next year for the 29 vehicles. And then we're expecting $354,000 of revenue from resale. So we're technically running an acquisition budgetary credit next year because we're bringing in more revenue than we have expense.
Within the following year.
And that's what the 10-year
Right.
analysis.
The other thing was, when we had those 29 vehicles, they had VIN numbers, but they did not have make models on them, so we don't know what vehicles they are.
That was, Chuck, that was 45 vehicles, so some of them were trailers, so I think that's why they narrowed it down to 29.
But they still didn't have make models on there, so we don't know what VIN numbers they are. What, you
Oh,
know.
which vehicles are specifically replacing the first year, you mean?
Well, we had VIN numbers, but you didn't have year, make, and model on there, so,
Oh, what's actually being replaced?
yeah.
Like what vehicles replacing?
What vehicle it is, oh, right, obviously, we know cop cars,
Yeah.
but, we got
There's-
3
there's
cop cars.
basically 3 or 4 models of police vehicles you can potentially choose from.
No, I'm looking, not, what we're replacing, what we're getting, what vehicles are we talking about? All we were given was VIN numbers.
Yeah.
We weren't given, it's gonna be 6 trucks in maintenance, 2 water trucks, that's what I want. I want the breakdown of
I think
where the
that-
vehicles
It should have been
are
the
at.
synopsis that broke down all those.
It wasn't.
What's replacing, which vehicles are being replaced. And obviously, I worked with all the department heads to come up with a replacement vehicle type and a
Yeah.
equipment budget.
We haven't seen that.
For those, but I can definitely, I think I've sent it out, but I'll send it out again. Joe, synopsis
send it
fine.
to council.
Thank you.
At extreme detail, whatever questions we got.
I think we beat this horse enough, thank you.
Okay, my last question. I know you have dealt with cities, and you are a salesman, so you'll tell us anything we want to hear to get your service.
As a salesman, I really take offense at this line of addressing this young man here. So if you could kindly just keep it above board, I would appreciate that. These aspersions are not necessary.
Councilman Foster.
No,
I'm talking about, I'm asking a question here, but cutting me off, that's not professional. I allowed it the first time you say you were catching a
this is
flight.
the second time that you've
But anyway,
accused him of being
This
kind
is,
of
okay.
shady, and I don't
Okay.
appreciate that.
Thank you. I'm a taxpayer, and when I tell you 14%, I'm going to pay it. So regardless of what Councilman Rob Foster might say, I want to cut me off. So, and I had the floor, but thank you. No, I'm keeping my language, that's good. So the issue that we are having here is you are saying that you have some cities that have rejected this package. I've talked to other cities, and there are very good reasons why.
Okay.
And this thing might not be able to work with like maybe our fire engine for a small city.
Yeah, we don't touch fire apparatus.
I understand,
or ambulance.
because cost-wise, it doesn't make sense to be able to operate within this kind of small city like this. So what happens, you have seen me ask the city manager, even though the councilman is trying to say he's catching a flight, about the 458,000. So in the past, we have had issues with our bookkeeping, where we had to sell some assets to be able to keep the services going.
Okay.
What happens if your payment, which is consistent every month, you're going to expect us per year to pay maybe 400,000, $500,000, some years are going to go to 600,000. What happens when we are kind of crunched with our own spending and we can't meet the obligation? Do you take the vehicles or what happens?
So like if you don't pay your invoice, that what you're asking? I mean,
Yes.
Obviously there will be some repercussions from y'all not paying your invoice, just like if you don't pay your house payment, you might not be living there anymore, right? So that would definitely occur if you just stop paying your bill. Now, what I would say is we would have to be very strategic with the city. If we were hitting a hard time where we're not able to meet our financial obligations that we have, just like with anything else, we would have to strategically look at the fleet and figure out ways, what can we do to drive down the cost this year? It could be decreasing assets. It could be selling off assets, and you're having to run even leaner than you were, just like you did with the paper services before. that would have to be a plan around that for y'all to do it. But, we do have cities, I mentioned this before, that do self-fund, that don't quote-unquote lease. We go out, buy a $50,000 vehicle, they're reimbursing me $50,000. Problem that y'all have in comparison to those other municipalities is y'all don't have a fully funded vehicle equipment replacement fund. And I don't see that y'all, have a way to get there. And this is meant to kind of bridge, the financing mechanism is meant to bridge that gap of being able to achieve that.
Hey, Mayor, I feel like we're kind of getting into the weeds and we're getting off budgetary topics. Can we kind of wrap this one
Yeah,
up?
we probably need to
I
move
feel like-
on because we
I know we
can't
haven't
really
done-
address this until we get the book.
I was gonna say,
it's
we-
really gonna all come down to can we afford it or not.
Right, we don't have all the numbers, so I'd rather wait until we have all that information.
So I
maybe
think,
get-
we need
and
to see
Mr.
more
Easley's
numbers, and like
information,
Mr.
stuff
Easley
like
said,
that.
we need to do a
Thank you.
better cost comparison. All right, if everybody's agreeable, let's just move on.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all so much, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, do you have anything else you want to say to close out the budget portion of this meeting?
That's it. And again, numbers, the final, because we don't even get final numbers, we haven't even got the final tax numbers back yet. So again, things are looking positive for our citizens, and there are plans to try to fund some of this outside of just stretching the dollar.
No. Okay.
I just got a question that you guys could help educate me, because in all my high school education, public education, my college that I went to, I got my degree in business management at a university in Boston. I was looking at these numbers, and if maybe I'm wrong, but isn't resale income back to the city?
Correct. Yes, sir.
So why is that not deducted off the total cost?
It is.
Well, from those numbers, from adding up, it doesn't, because if the total cost is deducted off the, let's just say the self-funded, the actual total cost is actually 537,000 instead of 562,000.
If you add the three top lines and subtract the
I
fourth
did.
line, that's where it gets.
I did, and it comes up with 537,000, not 562. That's why maybe government math is different than the math I learned. I don't know. That's why I'm asking to be educated, because like I said, I just did it in my head, and 380 plus 111 is 480,000 plus 71 is 562,000. Now, if you add up the 25,000, that brings down to a total of 537,000. And like I said, I'm just doing these numbers off the top of my head. I was just trying to understand government math.
Well, I appreciate you bringing that to our attention.
So then the total cost for the enterprise is actually under 100,000. Is that, like I said, I'm just trying to understand. I'm not angry, I'm just trying to understand what the actual cost is,
Yes,
because
sir.
these are my tax dollars being spent.
Absolutely, sir. You have every right to do that. So, and I have to say, you are right. So this is where I did it wrong, I guess. So this was a last-minute calculation that Nick actually sent us. His total estimated budget for, thank you, Mr. Vincent, fiscal year 25-26 is actually 186,160. My bad. I looked at that from the other presentation, I guess, that he did, and this is the last one that he sent us as of July 10th. Well, now the guy is gone, but I would be happy to verify the numbers. That's my bad.
No,
I'm
that's
so
fine.
sorry.
I'm just curious, because
You are
I just
completely
need to be
right.
educated.
No, you're educating me. You're saying, okay, Mira, look at your numbers again. Thank you,
And,
sir.
I've looked over the city budget before.
Yes, sir.
You do amazing job. And Madam City Secretary, you do a great job putting the minutes out. When I was in the hospital and got the minutes, they were great to read over. But I just needed to
Yes.
understand.
You are right. You are absolutely correct. So the total cost actually for fiscal year 25-26, now I have to thank you. It's actually $186,160.
And that would be
So I
for
will
29
have
vehicles
to-
compared to 5.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And also, just want to put this out there, as far as the fuel cost, as long as proper preventive maintenance and servicing is done, is it will actually keep the thing. I know that because I was a truck driver and I owned trucks, and I had to track that cost, I had to pay for my own fuel. Just to solve that question of you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Castro. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 5. We do not have an executive session, so we can skip agenda item number 6. And now we are to agenda item number 7, requests for future agenda items. Council, do you have anything you want to add?
So I had one that's actually kind of apropos to what we discussed tonight, which was, I wanted to find out what our fee schedule is for tickets that get issued for speeding and/or miscellaneous things that our police officers write, and see if we are current or average to the surrounding cities and things of that nature. So I'd like to propose we look at that.
All right, so you wanting a police department report on what they're doing as far as writing tickets?
As far as the amount. So I want to look at the amounts that the tickets are being written for, and what the cost is associated with those tickets, and see if we're still comparable to the surrounding cities.
Okay, but that's not something we budget for. Are you wanting it involved with the budget? We don't budget for
Not a budget, I'm not looking at a budget item, I'm looking at I want to see what that cost is, and if we're super low, you know, like let's say I get a ticket tomorrow and it's $237, well, Burleson charges almost $400, you know, why aren't we bumping ours up to
okay.
be relatively?
You're wanting to know what the cost of the ticket is? Okay,
Correct.
not how many of them are writing. That's the part I was confused on. I
Oh,
thought you
okay.
were wanting us to compare how many tickets we're writing in
No,
our
no,
city
no, I
compared
was-
to another city, and I was thinking, yeah, that wouldn't be
Budgetary wise,
someplace
I'm
we'd
just
go.
thinking it falls in line with our budget
Okay.
topic is. all
I'm with you
getting
now,
at.
Mr. Fisk.
Thank you.
Anything else, council? All right, it's 8:06 PM. Meeting is